Hey, what's up? I'm so excited to bring you today's episode of Why Invest Wednesday. I have my wife and sister-in-law, Sarah and Carri, on the show to talk about our experiences owning a short-term rental, the first 8 months, our opinions, the highs, the lows, all the preparation that helped us turn our short-term rental into a profitable entity over the last 8 months. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty. Thanks for tuning in. Please smash that subscribe button, ring the bell if you want to stay in the know all things real estate. If you are interested in short-term rentals, I would love to sit down with you, make a plan, and hopefully make your experience as positive as ours has been. Let's jump to it. Today, we are going to talk about our short-term rental. I've talked about my short-term rental, but the truth is these two lovely ladies with me are not only here to make my Facebook feed look a lot better, but they are the co-owners of our short-term rental in Grand Lake, Colorado. So we're about 8 months in. So Sarah and Carri, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Perfect.
Thanks for making me come.
Yeah,
just checking.
Absolutely. So we decided one night a while ago over lots of cocktails that we wanted to have a mountain home at some point. And then the Airbnb thing, this is probably before Airbnb, and it kind of took off. Eventually one day, Jeremy would kind of do his thing and look for houses in Grand Lake. I had a specific house that I wanted, and every once in a while,
specific location.
Right. Specific location. And everyone, we all changed jobs and careers and, all this in the process. But one day this one came on and I was like, hey guys, let's do this. And they're like, okay. Or at least that's what I heard in my head. So we went and looked at the house. And I will also say we also have Mark Billieu, who is not here today because he works. So he's actually the muscle behind what we do up there. So shout out to Mark if you're watching. But so we decided to kind of dive on in. And so we're just going to kind of go over the first 8 months of our journey. And these two manage the property. And I just kind of, have ideas and they're like, oh man, Jeremy, you're crazy. And then they kind of execute and things are good. And I think we're profitable now for the first time in a while. So, and that's not to scare anybody. It's just a journey. So we're just going to kind of ask a few questions and go from there. So we're just going to start with Carri. What's your biggest fear or concern, diving into this journey as a whole?
I'll be serious. Okay. My biggest concern was getting enough renters to cover the mortgage. I was definitely worried about paying the mortgage every single month that we were as a second house. That was my biggest concern, but with a lot of encouragement and Jeremy's, we got this no matter what. I mean, Jeremy just believes and it happens. And then some research from some people who have short-term rentals in the area, I started to feel more comfortable about, let's go, let's jump in with both feet. So, and I'm glad we did.
Right. Absolutely. And that was kind of, we're close and we're not poor because of it for sure, but we knew it could work. We'll talk a little about the timing in a second, but Sarah, what was your biggest fear diving in?
Sharing sheets. No, I'm serious, but no, that wasn't my biggest fear. I did make sure that I had my own sheets up there, then everybody else was going to use. But no, I think that for me, it was just appealing to guests. I just wanted to make sure that what it looked like and what we said and what we did was appealing to people enough to get them to rent. And then my other fear was guests, guest relations, making sure that people were happy and when they were there, the issues that might come up and being 2 hours away and what that was going to look like. That was a lot of uncertainty for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes sense and kind of went through my head, but like Carri said, I don't really care. Kind of a visionary and I'm like, let's just do this.
That's life with you.
Right. That's good.
You're like, okay. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's jump.
Yeah. And I talk about this a lot on Why Invest Wednesday. I'm like, it's fine. Like it'll all turn out. And other people are like, what are the numbers? How's it going to work? And I'm like, well, like we'll figure it out. Like it's fine. The numbers work in my head and then they turn out typically. So lots to learn there. But the good news is I try it out before I, help my clients out. So my biggest fear, I would say, is obviously the family partnership. Sarah and I own some rentals, but we're a little bit connected, being my wife, Sarah. So but bringing in Mark and Carri to the picture, first of all, Mark is super handy and can fix anything. And he has really cool friends. Shout out to Squirrel and Justin and Luke and Lori and Steve and all those people that have been up there to help us.
100%.
But like, I'm like, yeah, we can fix that. And then I'm like, yeah, how much can we pay to fix that? Because I'd rather go drink beer and fish. But we've done some things and Mark's super awesome. So my biggest fear was kind of involving family, but literally like same household here. During COVID, we pretended like it was the same household. Don't tell the president or the governor, but super tight knit family. Carri's Sarah's sister, if you can't tell. So that was a little bit, like, should we do it? Should we do it? Because like rule 101 is like, don't go into partnership with family. Don't do that. But the cool part is we all have very unique personalities and unique gifts, so to speak. So that was kind of the fears and that stuff, but we kind of got through it and we kind of jumped in. It was a perfect property right where I wanted it to be. And the only other thing is timing, which I mentioned. Grand Lake is mainly a summer destination. And that's when it's really hot. And we happened to buy like July 20th, I think we closed. So our first renters didn't come till August, and schools and, families and things are kind of busy, but we survived. We got through it. We survived that piece of it. And now like all of a sudden, because of Carri and Sarah's work, the algorithms kind of picked up. So we're going to dive into Carri's kind of expertise. She took some time to really look into what makes algorithm work. We use AirBNB and VRBO. It's not VRBO, it's VRBO, as Carri learned and told me. So Carri, kind of explain how that went and kind of what you've learned and kind of the results you've seen as we've gone.
So I think I kind of assumed, and Sarah and I both kind of assumed that it would be about the reviews. We just had to make sure that we got good reviews. And although that's important, we quickly found that there was other things that was lacking. There's a reason why we weren't getting as much traffic. And so one of the big things that we had all of our friends and family do is we sent out our link, our VRBO and our Airbnb link, and said, hey, click that little heart, put us on your wish list. So that we started to get some traction. And Sarah, I can't remember, wasn't it like an hour after we had everybody do that the first time? We got a booking, another booking. We're like, okay, this works. Another piece is just the competitive pricing, and you'll see everybody talk about that. One of the surprising things for me was the difference. Both Airbnb and VRBO have their own algorithm that you can just, it's like an easy button. Yep, you choose it for me. But I did some research and kind of, especially during what you call your low season, did kind of an average between the two. Airbnb tended to be higher in pricing than VRBO. And so I kind of said, okay, let's go somewhere in between. And that seemed to pick up, especially again, in our low season, help us get more traction, get people checking it out. The other thing that I guess I didn't totally realize is that the site needs to be dynamic. So we set it up. We were really proud. We're like, perfect. That's kind of how, Sarah and I roll. We're like, okay, we're not going to put it out live until it's perfect. And so we thought it was perfect and we left it alone for a couple months. And then we're like, what's going on? And it really is that it's because it's got to be dynamic. So you got to change the wording in there. You got to change some of the pictures. You got to just kind of make it active. And so the site thinks that these people are really involved. It's not just, this 25-year-old housing property.
So if you're 25, you can't do this.
And I guess the last tip that we didn't realize is that you didn't want to use words like cute little phrases like chalet or lodge or lake house, which we still use, but because people are on there searching for a house, they're not going to search for the word chalet. They're not going to search for the word lake house. So that was another thing that we made, a tweak that we made, not early on, later on, and it's made a difference as well. So, I mean, and I think we'll continue to learn. It is a learning curve, but that was the big piece. Sarah, did I miss anything?
No, that was awesome.
Okay.
Perfect. And the algorithms really kind of picked up. Like I said, we're actually booked for the entire month of July, and we've booked pretty much February 12th through March 17th. We've had like 2 days that are open. So that's when it becomes profitable. And obviously when you're investing with leveraged properties and things like that, it matters. So, perfect. Let's go on to Sarah. Sarah and Carri handled both of these pretty evenly, but the decor and furniture, Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about that? Since it is a short-term rental, you have to have a plan with that.
Yeah. So a lot more than what was expected went into this. So first of all, I'll start by talking about what was left there. We had a couple of beds and a bunch of decor and some random things that the previous owners left for us, which is very nice. And so we're like, okay, we have something to start with. But little did we know when we got up there, we were like, this decor is it's not us, it's outdated. It's not what we want. And so Carri and I took everything off of all the walls and just like moved heavy leather couches. Thanks, Lindsay and Richie, for your help on that. Just out onto the patio, and we're like, get rid of this. And we pretty much started from scratch. We kept a couple of the bed frames. One of them I can't wait to get rid of. But so we were excited, and then we're like, okay, this isn't going to work. So we started acquiring from Facebook Marketplace, from Amazon, from everywhere you can imagine, from Carri's basement.
Living room.
I just took stuff down from my walls and just brought them up there. Like whatever we could grab. But I feel like we did a pretty good job with decor. But one day I literally had Amazon boxes stacked higher than I was up outside of our porch. Jeremy was like, he's coming back for more. Like, what'd you buy today? I was like, a lot. I got a lot of stuff. It's all for the lake house though. Right. So there's things you don't think about. Like,
those are write-offs, right, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
I may have had some shoes in it. No, I'm just kidding. So things you don't think about, like cutting boards, like, Carri, I can't even think of all the random stuff that we bought. Like so many pillows, a teapot. Yeah. Carri went to thrift store a few times too to buy things like that. Like
brand new, out of the box thrift store teapot.
I mean,
for sure.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was just fun. Like, oh yeah, we need this. Oh yeah, we need this. So we had like this huge running list, which was fun, but crazy. And then, our first move-in day was just Carri and I. Jeremy was not available. Mark was not available. We were leaving for Mexico, I think the next day, Carri.
We got home from Mexico.
Oh. No way. Okay.
We closed, then went to Mexico.
Okay, fine. Okay. I'm wrong, I guess. But I put it on Airbnb. Anyway.
Okay.
Carri and I went up there and moved all the couches, moved beds, like moved everything in a couple of hours, and like made all the beds. And I think we cleaned that day too. And we were like, okay. And then ran back down the mountain. That was the wildest day ever. And then since then we've been, collecting stuff. But anyway, long story. I think, it was a long process to decide what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And just getting all the stuff took a lot longer. And maybe it was a little bit more costly than what I intentionally expected.
Right. Mm-hmm. And
initially expected.
Yeah. And then they didn't even talk about when they decided to paint the wall that was over the stairs, and Sarah's like on a plank painting a wall black. Yeah. We have a black wall in our house.
It was a scaffolding, and it was totally safe, and it was approved by Mark, our safety manager. Yeah. So we're good.
Yeah.
I also had
a 5x8 with leaning on a ladder safe.
Right. I also had, I meant to say, Amy, that was Amy's idea from Half Dozen Designs. She came up one day and was like, you should paint this wall black. So
for sure. Absolutely. So, and then we just have this thing, and we take new pictures every time Sarah adds a pillow. Every time Sarah adds a pillow, we take new pictures, and that feeds an algorithm, and it kind of helps that way. So that's kind of where
the other thing I was going to say. Sorry, I normally, and Jeremy always says like, hey, you need professional photos for your listings in particular, but I just took photos from my phone because we've changed everything. Every time I go up there, we change something new. Here's JJ. So I just ended up taking photos, which I think, according to myself, I think that they turned out pretty well, especially with that natural light in there. So.
Perfect. So yeah, that's awesome. Girls, if one of you have it, can you shoot me the link so I can put it in there? We'll put our link in there eventually. So stay tuned for that. And then my role is kind of like the hype man. I'm like, yeah, girls, go do it. And then like, we're going to do this, and we're going to fix the pipes, and we're going to do this. And I'm kind of I try and be safe and try not to get sued. So we've kind of worked through that.
Can you shut that?
But that's kind of where it's all kind of taken off for us. Like, with, slowly but surely, like we have tons of ideas, and we want new floors, and we want new this, and we want new that. We want a new deck because our deck kind of leans sideways, but the pictures don't show it. So people book anyways. It's fine. It's totally awesome fine. Deck. So those are the improvements and things, and the financial piece. With that timing, like at the end of July and August, we kind of started booking, and we've made it. But Carmen just left. But anyways,
I'll come back.
Right. So then we're just working through it, and finally we're like seeing positive cash flow, and I think we're going to make like $5,000 in July. So the profit comes, but you have to hit as you go. Like if we could have bought it on May 1st and, had the entire summer, we would have had kind of a nest egg, and we've just had to kind of come and go. And we thought we could get away with not shoveling the porch and deck until there was 7 feet of snow on our back deck, and we couldn't get out the door. So we decided we probably should hire somebody that could shovel in addition to someone who can plow snow. So obviously if you're in Florida, that's very different. But in Colorado and the snowy areas, make sure that you kind of have an idea, or you have a covered deck, because our neighbors, Richie and Lindsay, who have a place up there, they're like, oh, we don't shovel. But then, we looked at their deck and it's covered, so people can at least get outside of the door. So just those little things with contractors, and these guys have done a really good job managing the contractor. So I'll let Sarah and Carri kind of speak to that and their journey through that.
Okay. Carrie left me on Instagram, but
I'm coming back. I don't know how, but I'll come back.
So I think that utilities and contractors and such, utilities is a lot different than what I've set up in with all of our other investment properties, because we're in the mountains. So electric, for example, like we have to physically sign a written contract, and I had to like scan it and email it into them. So like there's just all these sorts of nuances with every single step of the way with that. So we have a septic system, and we had to learn all about that and try to figure out just making sure that the guests knew how, what the rules were and what they were supposed to be doing and what we were supposed to be doing, all together. So now this one's out of battery. Great. And then it just was like internet isn't as easy up there. So we had to try to find the best company that was really just the best company that could get us any sort of Wi-Fi up there. So, just all of those, it felt like every step of the way, it was something that we were learning with something new. And then cleaning was another piece of it that,
we thought we were good. We had a cleaning person. We're like, okay, that's all we need. Right. And then we started thinking about all these other things and all these little nuances and check in, check out and trash and go ahead, Sarah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So it's okay. I was just going to say, we had to find a snowplow person, and we had to find a shoveler because the snowplow person doesn't shovel, so there's just, it just took a lot to figure out the lay of Grand Lake more so than
short-term rental, I feel like,
Yeah. And a lot of like Airbnbs are urban, and, finding a cleaner in Denver looks a lot different than finding a cleaner in Grand Lake. And that kind of led me into one of my roles was like the real estate, the legal stuff. Be very careful when you're buying a short-term rental that you know what's going on and what the HOA rules are, what the city and county rules are, because it's different everywhere. So like Denver, there's certain rules that you have to follow, and it has to be your primary residence, and you have to sign, affirmations and things of that nature. So make sure you know that. We had that kind of an idea about that. And then my neighbor, Richie, was like, hey, you have to get a permit. Oh yeah. And you have to have a emergency contact that lives in Grand County. And luckily our cleaner and emergency contact could be the same person. And that worked out, but it was definitely kind of a surprise. So know the lay of the land as that goes for sure. Anything else on that, ladies?
I don't think so. Just checking my notes.
Perfect. And then we always end with the gratitudes, and I'll start with mine. Like, it's so cool to have an investment property that's gaining value, that other people are getting to enjoy, but helping us pay off our mortgage. And eventually we'll have an asset to, hand down to our girls and things of that nature. But I'm just so grateful to have a getaway. Like, we're going to go up there for a week in March, spring break, and just enjoy it. I haven't been up there since November. So I was going to enjoy it. 75% of the time we're going to rent it out, and 25% of the time we're going to be there. Well, life happens. So that's just why I'm grateful to actually have an asset that's appreciating in value. We're paying down the principal, we're covering our costs, and we can go there and enjoy it. So that's why I'm grateful it's happened. And, I'll kind of toss over to Carri and she can take it away. What's your gratitude, Carm?
I agree, for sure, JK. A piece of it is just having somewhere to go, a place to land that we can always go and we can always agree on, and we know we have enough space. Another piece of this for me is I always like a task. I always like a challenge. So give me something that we've got to build from something. And then that's when I really shine. I get excited and I dig in and I do research. So this keeps me focused and excited and energized. So I think that's what I'm grateful for the most, is that it's not a done deal. We keep thinking, we keep improving, we keep getting better.
And our bank account keeps getting more money in it.
Right.
That's positive. Sarah, what do you got to kind of close us down, and then we'll...
similar to both of you, I think for me, it's just seeing the girls up there and how much, so much fun that they have, and all the memories that they are going to have, and us too. But just, that by far is the biggest piece of it, and being able to afford that right now, it wouldn't be possible unless we were doing short-term rental. So that's it. That's the coolest part. I can't wait to take them sledding up there and do all of that. We did all the summer crazy and their bikes and running and, just enjoying the colors and, every piece of each season.
ATVs and
experience it.
Long
right?
dog hikes
and ride and grading the land on the back of the ATV on
where are the pictures?
Some plywood. I don't know where the pictures are.
I keep seeing I wish I could flash photos right now.
So yeah, we're going to post our link to our cabin. If you want to check it out on Airbnb, you can see the pictures, kind of follow our story. Definitely put it on your wish list. If you know me personally, just hit me up and we can figure that out. But yeah, check out the link and we'll go from there. Herds of Me says, I love it, Christy. But yeah, so we'll post that link. As always, like, comment, subscribe. If you have questions, if you really want to know the whole story, we will all meet with you, and I'll be your realtor, and they'll be your inspiration and about the logistics. Sure. But they didn't know that until just now, and they agreed. So
no, it's fun. I'm in.
All right. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, let us know if you need anything. Short-term rentals are kind of the new thing on the block. So just make sure that we do our research and know the counties and things like that. So did we hang anything on the black wall? Says Aunt Sue from Ohio. Yes, there's a picture of a moose or meese. It's just one moose.
Just
actually.
One.
And a coat rack, a really cool coat rack, Aunt Sue.
Yeah, those salty sisters. You know, that's really why we started this. I just want to be a part of a business with these ladies. So,
jealous. You were
here
jealous.
we are. We have the salty sisters. My tax guy was like, whoa, you guys did a lot this last year. But yeah, that's where we're at. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye, sis. See ya.
Bye, sister.